Hey, what's up guys? I'm John. Last week we learned about how to thread your sewing machine. This week we're going to learn how to sew a straight stitch and also what the dials on your sewing machine mean. Let's dive right into it. So let's look on the dials on the Singer Heavy Duty. So when you start sewing out, you can see here this is the stitch length. Basically what's that saying is the length of your stitch. So from 0 to 4. Normally I would put it on 3. That's normally where I have it set on. Right down here you can see the types of stitches. So normally when you're starting out, you're right here. You're just right at the straight stitch. You have the zigzag stitch you can use for finishes if you don't have a serger. And all these other, decorative stitches you actually don't need when you're starting out. Actually, to be honest, I've never ever used them. Like really, I use the straight stitch, zigzag stitch, or the buttonhole stitch, which the Singer Heavy Duty has automatically. Let's look on the top of the sewing machine. This to our far left is the tension. So the tension, the tightness of your stitches. The needle position, you have the option to the right. So let's go down. You can see the position. So this is to the far left. Normally it's in the middle or to the right. So depending on what you're doing, you can have it here, but normally it's positioned right here. And you also have the zigzag, so the length of your zigzag, or I should say the width. You can also see that here. This is the width of your stitches, and I normally have this somewhere between 1 and 2. And it also, if you look good while I'm moving this, you can see that the position of the needle is changing. So what I'm doing right now is just moving that button, and you can see that the position of the needle is also changing. And what I've noticed is that if you have it on 0 and you have it in the middle, so right now I have it on 0 and it's also in the middle. Yeah, you can see that my needle is positioned right in the middle of my presser foot. So the biggest worry for someone starting out is, am I sewing straight? So am I sewing in a straight line? When I started out, my lines were really crooked. I say it does take patience. Sewing takes time. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. But I will also show you ways or hacks that you could use to sew a straight line. So let's go over to the sewing machine and I'll show you some tips and tricks that you could use to sew a straight line. A good thing to note is that on the sewing machine you have lines, and normally you sew, like, it depends on your seam allowance, but I normally choose like a centimeter seam allowance. So for what's on your sewing machine on the Singer, you can see the 3/8, and I normally place my fabric right on this line, which brings me to hacks that you can do to keep your fabric on this line. When I started out, I started using this, and it's like a magnet to keep your fabric on this line. So this part of your sewing machine, it's iron, and this is just a magnet, and it clicks on. So when I started out, I got myself this thingy, I placed it there, and first, when you're sewing, always 2 or 3 stitches front stitch, then you put down your reverse, your back stitch, and then you can go front stitch again. That's basically tying the knot so that your thread doesn't come loose. So now it's secure and we can go. And what I'm doing here is just holding my fabric right towards my ruler, and it helps me to sew in a straight line. So let's close this, back stitch, front stitch, lift it up. On the side of your sewing machine, a funny story, I found out that there was a cutter on the side like 2 years after buying my machine. And if you guys look, let me bring this a little closer, you can see that it's straight. Both front and back, it's straight. And this is what you want to have when sewing a straight stitch. So for my next hack, it's similar. I bought this about a year or 2 ago, and it basically does the same thing. It's a magnet you put on your sewing machine, and this thing right here actually holds it down. And I should say I do not use this so often, but sometimes, especially when I'm making waistbands, that's when I use it. So let's give it a try. This time I'm gonna fold my fabric in two. I fold my fabric for a neat fold to have more stability. I place it down at 3/8, or let's do 5/8. Let's do 5/8. I place it down at 5/8. I have my magnet right here. I put my magnet towards the edge of 5/8, and you can adjust this thing. I paid on Amazon, it was about a couple of euros, so a couple of dollars. I think it was about $5 to $10, 10 max. So you can get this on Amazon or wherever. I place this down. It's secure, and I should be honest, this feels more secure than this. So this I got for like maybe €1. So not even, like $1, not even $2. But this feels more, it feels more secure. So when I'm creating my waistbands, I use this. I couldn't use this for my waistband. This is just when you're starting out and you're looking for something cheap, you can choose this one. Same thing, I put down my needle, 2 front stitch, 2 back stitch, and we're off. Let's close it to see the result. And this is looking neat, both on the front and on the back. Let me bring it closer because I can't see if you guys are having a good view. There's another option you can choose, and this option is if you're really, really on a budget. And when I started out sewing, I was really on a budget. So I used tape, and tape is also a way to learn how to sew straight. You might have it at home. This is painter's tape. That's what they call it over here. You can get this tape in a lot of stores. For this example, let's do 7/8. So I'm putting it right on the line of 7/8, making sure it's straight. Taking my fabric again, it's already double folded, but for this purpose, let's make a fold right here. So now it's a little thicker. Place it on the line of my tape, and same process. Needle down, 2 front stitch. That was a little bit too much. 2 back stitch, and just making sure that my fabric is on the line of the tape. And already it has no stability. Like here, there was stability. Here, you really have to be certain to keep it on the line. The tape is a cheaper option, but it's difficult. Or not, I should say, it's a cheaper option, but it's a little more difficult. Let me close this stitch. And cutting it off, and you can see a straight stitch. You can see a straight stitch. So today we did this one. This was with the tape. This was with the metal thing. I don't know how you should call it, but the one I showed second. And this one right here, this was with the magnet, the smaller magnet. So we can call this the bigger magnet and the smaller magnet. I truly hope you learned something from these videos. Please check out my other videos to learn more, and also leave a comment below so that I can know what you guys are thinking and I can know what videos to make to truly help you on your sewing journey. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I'm John Fitzgerald. I leave you with these 4 words: be more fearless. And if you liked and enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll enjoy this one somewhere right here.